The mantra is Kling Chaitanyaya Namaha. Kling Chaitanyaya Namaha. So if you offer incense, for example, it's Esha Dhupaha Kling Chaitanyaya Namaha. And like that. So every single offering requires us to chant the holy name of the Lord. And in the advanced stages of deity worship, there are literally offerings like around the clock, from like 4 in the morning until like 2 in the morning the next day. So with this kind of a schedule, the Lord's name is chanted by the priests every few seconds, along with different offerings and presentations and different services that they render to the deity. And similarly, in the great sacrifices performed by the Vedic kings, there were large assemblies of brahmanas who would chant different mantras from the Vedas. And each one of these mantras begins with Om, or another name of the Supreme Lord. And from this, the potency would build up and extend over all the attendants of the sacrifice, even the animals. They would also get spiritual experiences because of the potency of the holy name. And of course, in Satya Yuga, in meditation, one's meditation is based on a mantra. And so one chants this mantra in order to invoke a particular form of the Lord for meditation. And again, one will recite this mantra, including the holy name of the Lord, over and over and over again during meditation. So in this way, the holy name of the Lord is actually the source of the potency of all spiritual methods, even the indirect spiritual methods in the Karmakanda, for example. In the Karmakanda, people are doing sacrifice for advancement in material things, and they are worshipping the demigods, but they don't understand that the names of the demigods are actually names of Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu lends his name and his qualities to the demigods for performance of universal functions. But originally, all these names belong to him alone. So try to understand the potency of every religious or spiritual method comes from the power of the holy name. And if we have full faith, we simply chant the holy name without any of the other baggage or without any of the other structure. We can go right to the source. We don't need to make a swimming pool. We can go into the ocean. And it's so much more fun, because the ocean is unlimited, whereas the swimming pool has always got some wall, some barrier that we can't surpass. So every other spiritual method is actually limited, but the chanting of the holy name is unlimited. It is the supreme and most powerful spiritual method. And if one simply adopts it and chants constantly, then one can overcome all of these offenses. And that's actually the only way to overcome all the offenses in the chanting of the holy name, is simply by chanting the holy name without ceasing. Chanting all the time. I mean, from the first moment you get up in the morning until you go to bed at night, and then even you'll dream about it. I did this, so I know. At least for some time in your life, at least for 6 months or a year out of your whole life, just take some time, go to the forest, set up a tent, have some food and minimal stuff, and just chant the holy name. Try to wear out those beads. Just chant day and night. And you will find that you will be able to surpass all of the offenses. In fact, the real meaning of the 10th offense, not to have to have full faith in the chanting of the holy name, really means to chant the holy name all the time. I remember in the early days of ISKCON, we used to do this. We'd get up in the morning and we'd have Mangal Arati and we'd chant, and then we would chant japa, and then we'd have class and we would hear from the scriptures, and then the whole rest of the day, while we're doing our various services, we would chant. We would chant in the kitchen. We would chant while building stuff. We would chant out in the fields. We would chant in the car. If we ever took a trip somewhere, somebody was always in charge of leading a kirtan. We'd have kirtan the whole way in the car. So this minimized the amount of nonsense talk and so on. And it maximized our chanting. And our goal, everybody was clear on the goal, that it was to chant as much as possible. And because of that, the devotees made very quick advancement. Later on, in ISKCON, the management diverted us into more fundraising activities for their own benefit. But actually, the real goal, or the real process, was always just to chant. And we used to go out on the streets and chant for hours and hours and hours. And everybody was really clear that this is the process. So we need to reinstate that, or we need to reach toward that in our own practice. Even if we're not in a temple, even if we're practicing a solo, to chant as much as possible with the goal of chanting constantly. Then we'll make very quick advancement. We'll be able to overcome all these offenses very easily, and we'll attain pure love of Krishna, which is the goal of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.